Okay, I think we are up and running. Up and running. The golf is on, is it? Okay, well, please be my guest, of course. Ask those guys to hold on while we do our stream. Everybody's been telling me, though, that they're good at doing two screens at once. They keep TV or work or something, or spreadsheets at work, also this stream, so it should be no problem. Yeah, John, keep us in touch. Let us know. Who's winning? Is the Japanese guy still in the lead? I heard yesterday. I don't know much about that. I'm sorry. Okay, as you can see, here we are with the third day in a row. With the first day we did the blue. The next day we did the black, and the black is just sitting here, hasn't been touched. I didn't clean up. And today we're going to be doing the gray, the last one. We're not going to do the moon. I've decided to just stick with the gray. So let's see, let's get this set up. The paper is out. It was frozen last night, so I haven't yet set up the paper. You still got a two-stroke lead, so good, good. So before I can get started this morning, I have to actually get the paper out. What you're seeing here, let's get this out of the way. Mic testing, mic testing. What you see here is the pack that went into the fridge. I had the paper over here after I was printing the other day. We keep it wide, all the paper nicely spread out, but that doesn't go in the fridge, of course. So this is how it goes in. An RU time slot. I don't understand that. I'm sorry. RU, what am I missing? EU, soka. Okay, so the paper was, as I said, all bundled up, wrapped up. Wrapped and wrapped and wrapped. Even inside the refrigerator, inside the freezer, it still loses moisture, If you put a piece of meat in the freezer, come back a few weeks later, it can be dry. So even through the plastic, it loses moisture. Touch up some of this. It doesn't really matter because today's the last color, but let's just keep it in order. Over the years since I've been working with other people here, I don't really do a lot of printing here, but now and then we do printing together, and they see me doing this stuff. And the younger ones here, especially this was Ayumi-san, the lady who's off right now. She would see me doing this, and I'd get the paper out, and I'd go like this, and get the newspaper, and line it up like this. And she's like, what are you doing? Are you so obsessive? Is this one of those diseases, OCD or whatever it is? And I'm like, no, that's how printers do this. If you're not careful with this stuff, if you don't line it up properly, if you're not careful with this, then that's the same thing with your printing. You've got to be borderline compulsive about keeping the moisture, about keeping the paper laid out. If you can't do those things, then you're not going to be a good production printer. You can make woodblock prints, 1 by 2 by 2 or whatever, a few. But if you want to make 200 prints that are the same, then you've got to be absolutely compulsive about this. It's literally mechanical, like a machine. A printing press will make thousands of copies the same because it is compulsive about doing it the same way every time. The golf is over, is it? Japanese guy wins, right? Great. Is this the first time for him to win such a major tournament? I don't know the details about this, I'm sorry. Or is this a sort of expected that he would win this, or is this a huge surprise? First major and the first Asian who's won the Masters. But he's been around for quite a while, hasn't he? His name isn't even known to people like me. The other thing also that's going on here, although it's not visible to you, is the printing order is staying exactly the same. By the time I get to finish putting this up and getting ready to print, the one that's on top is going to be sheet number 1. They went into the fridge last night in batches, batch 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm doing 4, 3, 2, 1, putting them up like this. So always, right from the beginning to the end, the order of the sheets stays exactly the same. And there's a real reason for this. It's not just being compulsive. There's a real physical, technical reason for keeping them in the same order. It's not so important right now because it's a plywood block, but when you're dealing with solid wood, it expands during the printing process. You're putting water on a piece of thin wood, and sheet number 1 is there. As you put more water and print, the block is physically getting wider and wider and wider and expanding. It just can't be helped. That's what wood does. So after you've done, say, 100 sheets, the block is now maybe 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters wider than it was before. So as long as you keep them in the same order, when it comes time to move ahead with the color blocks, the same thing happens. And also, as the registration bit by bit gets out of whack, you can see it and move it. But if you've scrambled those sheets, if they're in the wrong order, then you're hosed, because there'll be some wide ones, some narrow ones. All different widths will be mixed in. You'll never, ever get the color registration proper. So it's got to stay in the same order, start to finish. So half of it is personality, compulsive personality. Half of it is absolute practical reasons. If you don't do it that way, you can't do a good job. So for people who are thinking about becoming a professional printer, not the artist printer, but the printer, the craftsman printer, you need one of two things. You need an inbuilt obsessive personality that will do things the same way each time, or you've got to be a good boy and do what you're told, and the boss tells you to do it the same way each time and you follow his instructions. It's one or the other. But without one of those two things, you're hosed. You can make 5 prints, you can make 10 prints, you can fool around, make 20 prints, that's fine, come back and do some more, they'll all be different. But if you want to be a production printer for a workshop like this, you have to be obsessive.すぐさんはどっちですか？今ちょっと説明したんですが、今紙を並べて本当に順番1から64まで、それから丁寧にここまではきれいに揃っていますとか、で向こうがなぜそんなに細かいですか？僕は簡単に説明したら、細かくちゃんとやらないと作品が同じものになりませんから、その形ですね。だから摺師になりたい人、このタイプですから、英語で obsessive compulsive、日本語ちょっと分からない、もうちゃんとやるタイプですよ。
几帳面っていうか、久保田さんみたいな、ああいうきっちりちゃんとやらなきゃいけない。
ですが、僕は今2つですね。1つは生まれからそのタイプ、OK。でもう一つのタイプは、そのタイプじゃないですから、工房に入って親からやりなさい。だから 自分の DNA がそのタイプか
ちゃんとやらなきゃいけないっていう
そうすぐさんはどっちちょっと待って I asked her which one is she? Is she the inbuilt compulsive type or is she the one that's doing this because she's told what to do?
私はどっちかっていうと、あるところにはこうグワってちゃんとしないと気が済まない、きっちりここまっすぐとか、ここは絶対揃ってないと嫌とか、そういうタイプにそういうなんかこれはちゃんときれいにこっちに
It's okay. She's compulsive. And you can see this way. Let's have a look. If I turn the block, you can see there's just that one little thing right there. Even no hangi no hanashi desho. Beside her bench, see the blocks there? This is the print that she's finished the other day. And she's got the blocks sitting there, 1, 2, 3. Also, just a little white tile. Do you see it? It's right exactly at the edge of her table. The little white tile right there. Okay? It's not at some random angle. It's straight bang perfect on the table. She's obviously this. Can I? すぐさんちょっといいですか？出していいですか？すぐさん。はい。おはようございます。そう。でもちょっと待ってね。この布は。
これ。そう。ちゃんとやってるよ。歌はちゃんとやってる。そうだからね、こういうところとこういうところと2つある。なんかどうでもいいところはどうでもよくて。
そうか。Okay, what she's saying now is, I yelled at her because look at that cloth. It's all randomly just thrown on the floor, and she said she's got it separated. The things that are important are laid out carefully and perfectly need to be done. The things that aren't so important, whatever, let it go. Who cares, you know? So.
だから。さんもね、なんかね、ここはこれはちゃんとしっかりやってって言ってでもタバコの灰はこんな。
So. Now she's saying most printers are the same. You saw her gesture. The area that's important, the desk and the tools and the things like that, they are perfectly, absolutely done. But behind you, like, who cares what's in the rest of the room? Like she mentioned Kubota-san. His room is a disaster, maybe, but the workbench is perfect. Perfect. We're laughing about this, but this is a really, really, really important point. Absolutely. For those of you who don't know, this is Suga-san, Natsuki Suga. She's been printing with us for years. 何年前から 5、6年前からね。
ここに来たの。
そう、ここで。
ここに来たのは、そう4、5年前。
So about 5 years. She's been printing for about 20 odd years. Different workshop, off for a while and back in. So. No, Dave is not dating lots of women. She works here. Suga-san works here. Very safe environment for these ladies. Totally no problem. So. Now you've seen her name. She's been printing on lots of our prints for the past few years, you know. So the JJ series, the GJ series, her name is on these. The one she's doing right now is the 4th print in this year's subscription series. Really nice girl, lady, whatever I'm supposed to say, I don't know. She's still saying the same thing. When she was learning from Kubota-san, he said, lay it out perfectly or you'll never make good prints. And it's true, absolutely true. Oh, look at this, it's crooked. Oh my God. Straight. It's the perfect job for those people. What's the expression? OCD? I don't know the current expression or whatever. But this is the perfect job for such a person. If someone out there is like that and like they're having trouble because on some of their job they're getting trouble because of this problem they have in their own body, it's not a problem for us. It's absolutely not a problem. The more compulsive you are, the more obsessive you are about doing this and getting it lined up, the better a printer you will be. Clearly there's part of this in my character. We joked about this before. When I'm out on the sidewalk, I count the steps and stuff like that. If I'm in the train, I count things. It's bizarre. I can't help it, but there's something obsessive, and that's what makes somebody a good printer. This is at an angle. The bench is at an angle. That's a reason. The bench here is sloping down. If I put this here straight, the brush will fall. Oops, excuse me. The brush will fall off it. So we have standing up at an angle. Don't give me trouble. She's laughing here. It's okay. It's okay. I don't think it's a character defect at all. I think it's a really good character, what's the word? These are the people who build the world. They invent things and make stuff and build things. Figure out how is it working, what's going on. You can probably go back through history. It's the OCD people who created civilization, whatever. Do I quarantine colors with the marubake? Okay, that's interesting. So if we had more brushes, if we had more access and had a lot more quantity of good brushes, we would quarantine more strictly. We would have maybe a dark red and a medium red and stuff like this. We would quarantine. But we don't have enough brushes. So basically our brushes now, they're marked in groups. They're just marked R. That's the red group. An orange, vermilion, red, pink. They would all go with the same brush. And remember, we are washing them. We're washing them after every run. But we don't wash right to the end till every last single drop of color is gone. We just wash out enough that if it's a red brush, when it's still running a little bit of pink, it's okay, because that's not going to interfere with the next color that you're going to use. So we, as I said, we quarantine to rough color groups. We have in there, what have we got? There's blues, reds, yellows. すぐさん、ハケの色を書いてありますが、今の質問がどこまで分けてありますね。例えば、ピンクとかレッドは別々ですか？ないですね。レッドグループ OK。はい。青、黄色、まあ、ブラック、もちろんブラックは別。This black is separate。それから何、ブラウンありますか？ブラウンがないでしょ？
ブラウンは黄色か赤どっちか使う。
I'll say for brown, she'll use sometimes one from the red group or maybe one from the yellow group.
で、あとはもし使う草の色緑がグリーンがもしグリーンって草がちゃんとあればいいけどなかったら藍を使ってやる。
So for green then, we don't have a green group per se. But if you use one of the yellow ones for green, you're never going to get it out of there. But you can use one of the blue ones for green and you're okay with this. So even though blue and yellow are technically the two things that mix together to make green, they don't behave the same way. So you can muck with the blue side, but you cannot muck with the yellow side because it'll be instantly visible.
グリーンだけど黄色は
でもグリーンありますよ向こうに。So there are some green brushes in there actually. So
余裕があったらブラシがいっぱいあれば。
So she said the same thing. If we had more brushes, we would split them up in a wider group.
少ないブラシじゃねちょっと可愛い。みんないっぱい持ってなかったら。
でも久保田さんがよく洗いますね。だからどのブラシでも大丈夫じゃないですか？じゃあ色分けじゃない。
でもうるさいですそこは。久保田さんは絶対洗う。きれいに洗う。
Even then the people who are really super washing brushes, and Sugi-san came from Kubota-san, who is a crazy washer, and he'll wash till he can't see any color, but he will still never use that brush for another one. And I know why too, because you can wash and wash and wash and wash and wash, but still up in the middle of those hairs, up at the top, you're going to get lumps of pigment. Especially if you've been making a lot of prints, if you've done a run of 200 or something, the pigment has really been pushed up inside there. And that's the last thing you want, a drop of blue pigment coming out when you're doing yellow or something. Okay, we should actually, make some prints here this morning. Ha ha ha. No, we have no access now to good brushes. The last maker, the last person who did good brushes is long gone. He's been dead for, I don't know, 15 years or something. There are people still making brushes, but they look the same, but it's just a joke. Whatever, it's just a joke. We are collecting hair, we are collecting ideas, and at some point we are going to give this a try. Okay, Dave, make some prints. This paper. Today's brush is gray with an A. I'm wearing the mask because there's a lady in the room with me here. This is Japan. When you're in public, you mask up, period. There's nothing toxic in what I'm using here. This is Sumi, this is carbon black. And really none of our, well, that's not quite true. Some of our pigments do have toxic elements. To make yellow these days, the old days the yellow was arsenic. These days it's cadmium yellow. That's a heavy metal, so it would not be so good. We never have them in dry form around us at all. We buy them in dry pigment form, but we never have them dry here in the workroom. We package them in the other room back there. We will get some dry pigment, put it on a board, mix it with water and alcohol, grind it. We've made a video about this earlier. And then it goes in small packs and they go in the freezer. And then when we need the pigment, we bring them out of the freezer in the small packs. These are now liquid. They've got paste mixed in and then they go. So we never have dry pigment involved in our daily work life. There is an occasion, sometimes we use metallic pigments. We'll work with powdered metals. And what we do then, we don't do it here, we do it in Ome, and we've got a special window set up with a big fan, and we work in front of that window. Tsushima-san did some of those just last week. Okay, let's give this a try. Now we're careful with this. I know it's mostly young ladies working here, and we had this experience last year twice now. Ayumi-san, she's been working here, pigments, printing, whatever, and then she comes to me one day and says, "It turns out I'm pregnant, I'm leaving." So she got pregnant while she was here. I mean, not, you know what I mean. While she was, during the time she was working here, she got pregnant. So we have to be careful about that. The young girls working here, and that's sort of a really critical time. So we don't want any toxic crap here at all. Zero, zero. Oh, so I need my chocolate box. Where's my chocolate box? Oh, Ishikawa-san moved it. Arg!
あれどこやった？あ、
いや、no. 杉さん、
いいよ、まだ始めた。
なんだ。仕事中でしょ？仕事中。申し訳ないです。なんだ。I couldn't reach it. She couldn't reach it. She broke first. Thank you.
はーい。
Okay, looking good, but we do have a tiny bit of registration off here. This tape is one thing. It's looking okay, but can you see the registration? It's a little bit off up at the top corner there. Do you see it? They're sticking out of the blue just a little tiny bit. This is our tape. So the black is sticking up, so it means I've got to move the paper also up to get the blue. How is the media over in Japan treating the wind today at the Masters? Like, how do I know? This happened a few minutes ago and I'm still here. I don't know. Oh, kento no mi ga nai desu. What can I do? Let's use a knife. It's okay. The media here will go bonkers. Of course, the media will go bonkers. Tsugiさん、今ニュースまだ聞こえてないでしょ、今のチャットからのニュースですが、アメリカのゴルフでしょ、マスターズ、
マスターズ
松山さんが勝った勝ったんです。
チャンピオン
チャンピオン、そうです、今10分前。
あ、本当に
そう
すごいマスターズで
そうです、そうです、そうです。今ちょうどこのストリーム始まった時10分前ぐらいですね。
あ、ニュースでやった。
そうだからこのチャットは僕のニュースチャンネルです。
あ、そういいな、同時のニュース。何が入ってるかな。
So what we did, the gray, this one, was sticking up. And we got confused about this really easily when I was learning printing. The gray is sticking up too far. So I come to the registration marks and think that you have to move it down. The gray doesn't move. It's the paper that's moving. So we had to move the paper up, not the gray down. We moved the paper up. So I cut the registration mark back a bit, just this one. I cut this one back. So the paper, when it goes on there, is now a little bit higher than it used to be. Because we're doing this upside down. So the registration marks, they're movable. That's just part of the game. You just move them as you need to move them, up and down, up and down. That's what I said a few minutes ago, back at the beginning. The key block has to be in the same order all the way through. Buying liquid sumi ink, that's okay, but that's sort of dangerous. Most liquid sumi ink that you buy in the shops, most of it is too thin. Even here in Japan, most of it is thinned out too much. Well, the shop is closed right now. I doubt very much whether we'll be open by the fall. It, of course, depends how it goes. We're just going to watch the situation. This is such a cool image, you know, such a cool image. You ask about the printmaking masters. It's funny. I tried to make this thing happen about, how long ago? About 30 years ago or so. not 30, maybe 25 years ago. It wasn't the printmaking masters we were talking about. I was trying to get organized here in Tokyo an Olympics, a printmaking Olympics in quotation marks. You're not allowed to use that name, but whatever. That was simply the point I was trying to get across. It was in a meeting of the Craftsmen's Association. And I'd been getting good publicity because of my poet series, and the craftsmen were a little bit, you're so lucky you're getting publicity, we never get publicity, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's screw you, it's not because I'm a foreigner, it's because I work on the publicity, you don't do anything. We had this meeting, they're saying, well, what would you do if you were the leader of this? And I put my foot, I said, okay, here's what I would do. First thing, you've got 4 or 5 workshops, right? You're training him, you're training him, you're training those 2 girls, blah, blah, blah. And I said, let's do this. Let's set together next spring. Let's have a traditional craft making, printmaking Olympics. We'll have an event. How to tie the baron quickly and nicely. How quickly can you count the sheets of paper to see if there's 100 sheets in a batch. There's a million things that we could do in our job that could be for fun in a competitive environment. You start one morning, you get together, you get the media, bring in HK, you have your little Olympics, and you give somebody a gold medal and a silver medal. I thought this was the greatest idea since sliced bread. And they just sat there. And the problem was, none of them wants to lose. Workshop A, Workshop B, Workshop C. Suppose your workshop didn't win. The pride thing then, you've been destroyed. This is a community of printers here. You're destroyed. It wouldn't fly. It wouldn't fly. And it would be worse if it was Tokyo versus Kyoto. What if they win? And both sides are going to be thinking the same thing. So the idea just went, what's the expression? Lead balloon. Talk about the ultimate lead balloon. When you go to the real Olympics, of course nobody wants to lose, but it's not a devastatingly bad thing to your pride. I went to the Olympics. I just missed a bronze medal by 1/10 of a second. That's pride. You could talk about that for the rest of your life, and people are going to be, cool, cool. But here, no way. For us, it doesn't matter. If my workshop went to that Olympics and we lost everything, it doesn't matter. We're the newbies here. We'll fight. But for the old established workshops, no. So what I thought was the greatest idea since sliced bread, am I familiar with Kyoshi Saito? Yes, of course, we knew each other. He's long gone now. Different world from us. Different world from us. I don't know about traditional medium. It's wood-block prints. Other than that, there's nothing much traditional about it. So, whatever. Saito-san and I didn't actually get along at all. There's a backstory. It's too long to tell here, but we actually didn't get along. But it's not a story for a Twitch stream, I'm sorry, but whatever. It's a story for sharing with a beer one day, but whatever. In some of the old prints, there's an artist's signature in black alongside something in red. I'm not sure, when you say older prints, I presume, are you meaning like back in the Edo time, Meiji time, whatever? Artists never signed prints. Anything you see on a print, Hiroshige, Hokusai, whatever, it's carved in the wood. There was no concept of an artist's signature. Their name identified who did the design. It was carved in the wood. So the artist never saw the sheets of paper. And the red seal that you see there also is carved in the wood. When you move ahead to the 20th century, post-war, for example, the Ukiyo-e Heroes prints we make, there's a red seal on those. That's applied on top by Jet himself, who then signs them. But in the old days, those red seals are carved in the wood.杉さん、今チャット話したことは、僕何年前組合の人たちに話した間、 向こうはデイビッドいつもメディアが来るねラッキーね僕ラッキーじゃないよ僕はいろいろ考えてだからメディアが来る、じゃあもし組合の人たちがもしねちょっとメディアが欲しいんですかじゃあちょっと考えましょう各工房に弟子をちょっと渡して大きな部屋で伝統木版画オリンピック考えましょうじゃあ第一イベントはバランス積む竹中を用意してみんなはいスタート積んで綺麗に一番早いとかそれから次はじゃあ紙じゃあ紙切り包丁をはいカッチャクチャクチャクチャクチャクどこまで綺麗とかじゃあ次のイベントは100枚100何枚か分かったねじゃあどこまで一番105枚だから一番早く考えだからいろいろイベントができますよそう考えると NHK を用意してもう全国ニュースになりますよで僕いいアイデアと思ったでしょみんなが
それをみんな騙す
なぜか誰勝ち OK ですが負けになるとだから高橋工房とか富工房は京都東京でしょ危ないだから No じゃあ杉さんはもしあれば杉さんじゃあ木版館からの木版館からの出ますからじゃあ木版館のシールを用意して頑張りますどうやりたくないやるI just asked you, just wait. What if the Olympics that I just described were happening, and our workshop put out, a couple of our people. Sugi-san went to the Olympics here with Moko Hankan's name on her shirt, and she got her number, and she's going to do this. And I'm asking her, would she like to take part in such an event, or would she, for reasons we talked about for a minute ago, what would she like to do?
でもね、みんな出たくないと思うかもしれない。
She said nobody wants to do this. Welcome to Japan.
でもね。
Okay, she says but.
僕ね、なんか得意分野じゃあ。あゆみさんは早くする部門で代表石川さんは綺麗にする部門で代表私はバレンを巻くのの代表で、なんかそれぞれ得意なやつをこう部門で分けてやるんだったらまあちょっと考えて
別の工房のものとどう
別のところとはやりたくない。
She said if we did it within our own workshop it's just okay. But to go outside and compete with other workshops, not a chance. I myself would love to take part in this because I can't lose. If I lose to a Japanese craftsman who's been here for 60 years, it's no shame for me. And if I beat him, well, that's what Karen, that's what she said. Maybe she said she would like to compete in her specialty. She said, send Ayumi to do the Barentine because she's a Baren maker. じゃあ、杉さんのスペシャルティは何？杉さんの特徴は何？
バレン巻くやつ。
バレン巻く？
これ。
あゆみさんじゃないですか？
あゆみさんバレンか。でもあゆみさんの方が多分早くするのは早いと思う。
そうか。I gotta do some work here, guys.
石川さん綺麗にすれるから。
ですがオリンピックの方が綺麗だけじゃないよ早い方がベストでしょもちろんでしょで伝統的木版画するオリンピックはもちろん第一は早いそれが雑じゃない早いと綺麗綺麗だけじゃないよ
ダメだね
2時間かかったら綺麗に10分の間にできた人と比べると久保田さんでしょ
久保田さんは早い。綺麗。
ちょっと暑いでしょ。Okay, I have bad news for some of the fans out there. I'm going to take my mic off here. I have bad news. It's spring here in Tokyo and it's getting warm and I'm done. This sweatshirt is now going to disappear. I see you again in November, Kara. I need a missed shirt. Sorry about that. 今のシャツの模様、みんな大好きですね。このゲームですね。残念にもうやめる、もう今帰りますか。I just told her everybody's going to go home now because there's no missed T-shirts. The shirt's clean. I threw away. It's all right. It's all right. Don't give me any more trouble about the shirt. I threw away last week 2 old shirts. It was time. It was time. I should have planned this and prepared a missed shirt. I'm not thinking that far ahead. I'm sorry. I do have a job to do here. I should have planned that. I just didn't think about it. Sorry about that. That would have been cool. Peel that off and there's another one underneath. I just have no imagination. What a chance I missed. Ah, boy, oh boy. Yep, I'm losing it as I get older. Absolutely losing it. No, nobody in public says anything about that. Nobody. Missed his history. Does the game still exist? Is there a modern version of it? I have no idea. そうゲームの話でしょ。で今いや一番ベストはもしこれを外してこのシャツにもあった方がそうすると爆発。僕そこまで考えなかったでしょ。I should have prepared one. This is getting too dark. So it still exists. Soka, soka. I've got the old CDs on a shelf somewhere, but I can't imagine it'll run on a modern machine. I don't know. It was a Mac. We used it on a Mac, I think. I know we used it on a Mac, but I think it was originally a Mac game. I don't know. We ran it on our Mac. We've never had a PC, you know. Actually, Moko Hankan now owns one Windows machine. We're a Mac house here. All of our software runs either on a Mac or the stuff that doesn't run in a browser. The software we run here runs on Mac. It's Apple software, with one exception. The new post office system doesn't run on Apple. So they built a system for companies to integrate with the post office, and it doesn't run on Apple, on Mac, on Mac OS. So we have now a Windows machine. Cameron's got it. There's a little birdie on the balcony there. I guess he's not in view. No. No, he's under the camera. He's not visible on the camera. It's a little sparrow. Someone's seen the NHK programs? Thank you. They're reruns. I haven't done an NHK one now for 3 or 4 years. I'm laid off. They don't call me anymore for those programs. But so those are reruns. They were good fun to do. Yeah, Peter Barkin, really, really nice guy. Eh? Super, super nice guy. Some of the other NHK English announcers are not whatever. But Peter is a really super guy, really nice guy, and he does the job so well. He's always so well prepared. So well prepared. I have it in the back of my mind, this is not whatever, a real thing, but NHK, 3 or 4 years ago, they told me that's it, no more travel programs. You're too old. We're switching to a younger crew, a female crew. They've switched to a younger female crew, so I was out. But I'm just imagining, maybe if one day NHK told Peter, okay, Peter, we're going to move on for somebody else. If that ever happened, and if I heard about it, I'd like to talk to Peter about working here. That would be so much fun, I think. Now, those old travel programs, I can't put them on my YouTube channel. They're not my programs. I don't have the copyright or permission at all. Just NHK themselves reruns them from their own website. If you go to the NHK World website, look up Journeys in Japan, and it's a mix. It's new stuff and old stuff. And I guess these days, maybe because of the lockdowns, it's all old stuff. I don't know. I did four or five of them. But I cannot show you those programs. They're not mine. I was a hired gun, but they're not my programs. have to go to NHK World, look for Journeys in Japan. What did I do? I did, Kamikochi, Yamanashi, I did one in Yamagata, Tendo, Osaka. I don't remember even now, it's so long ago. No, it was just a side gig. It's not why I came to Japan. I didn't think of that at all. Just one day NHK phoned. I guess I'd been on the NHK News because of my printmaking work. And then one day somebody phoned from NHK World and said, do you want to do a travel program? So I'm like, me? Announce TV, travel? They said, no, it's easy. Come. Kinosaki Onsen, that was fun. Yeah. That was the last one. That was my swan song. The reason those programs are quote unquote easy to do is that as part of the rule of doing them, they tell you where you're going. You know what town you're going to, but they tell you don't Google it, don't look it up, don't study this. Because I had done that. The first time they told me we're going to go such and such place. I said, okay, good. I'll do some research and figure it out. I said, don't do that. They don't want you to do the research because what they want is when the camera hits you when you come out of the station, they want you to be a newbie in that town looking around and saying natural things. So they don't want you to do a bunch of advanced research. So it makes it easy. All you have to do is just like go and show up. They put a camera in and you talk about what you're seeing. Excuse me. I think actually NHK is a little bit wrong on that when they told me, thanks Dave, but no more. And it was two things. One is because you're too old and one is because you're not female. And I think they're making a bit of a mistake on that because the people who would follow me if I were still doing those travel programs, these are people with a desperate desire to come to Japan. I know many people watching this right now are the people who they would like to come to Japan. So I think NHK is missing a trick there. They're thinking they've got their idea about the market that they're targeting, the young people's market, blah, blah, blah. The Venita lady, those are replays. Those are all now replays. She is not well, and I believe there are no new programs. Back. また来た。なんだ、餌を出す方がいいかな。
かわいい。
He's back, the little birdie.
かわいい。
Yeah, the young chirpy females, the show. The day that producer told me that he wasn't going to be calling me again, I asked him what's going on. It's not a hostile conversation. I'm just let me know what's going on. And he was frustrated because this wasn't his decision as a producer. This is executive people upstairs telling him who to hire and what kind of stuff. And he was frustrated because he's quite happy with people like me because we were competent. And the young girls with the kimono and that stuff, they're pretty and they chirp, 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 but they're actually not so competent at broadcasters, you know. No, I appreciate the honesty, you know. In some other culture, if this was Canada, the TV company cannot tell Dave, I'm sorry, we're not going to hire you anymore because you're too old. They can't do that. They're afraid of like getting sued or something. Here in Japan, it's okay. And I appreciate that. I wouldn't in any way think of suing them. You're telling me I'm too old. No, it's their business. They can choose who they want to do and what style they want to show and who their target market is. And if they think older white guys are not suitable, that's totally their call. I got no problem with that. But besides, I got my own YouTube channel. Who cares, you know? So. But the producer was frustrated. I give the example. I remember the conversation. We were chatting about this, that, you know, when he said, and he said things like, there's one thing, like, for example, Dave, just think what we just did in this broadcast today. And there was an example. I was giving the closing talk to the thing. And he has to go back to the editing room later and make the program out of it. But he's got to fit the program into whatever it is, 24 minutes and 30 seconds or something like that. So while he's still in the field, he tries to prepare enough video clips so that when he goes back to the editing room, he can make the program exactly. So Dave does the closing talk. The camera is over there. I'm standing on the spot. I'm just waiting. Cars go by, cars go by. He lifts his hand, okay, and I've got to walk towards the camera. And I walk towards the camera. Today, you've seen the mountains of Tendo. You know, I give my little talk, whatever it is we've talked about. And I finish it just as I get to the camera. Thank you, and see you next time. And walk past the camera. He says, good, okay, back you go. Let's do it again. That was 30 seconds. Now, give me one for 20 seconds. And I go back to the spot. We stand there, wait for the cars to go by. And now I've got to do the same thing in 20 seconds instead of 30 seconds. Got to walk a bit faster. I got to say less. Let me think a minute. Okay, all right, I'll do this. Hi. He puts his hand up and we go. Today you have seen Bob, and I get to the camera, bang, 20 seconds or 19 or 21, whatever it is. I can do this. So he then goes back to the editing room and he can now make his program and he's got take 1, take 2, take 3. So he wants someone like me to do this program because he can call that stuff and I can do it. The little girl with the umbrella, she's just lost. We're still doing okay. They're coming out, I think, pretty consistent. I got a couple of the brown. The gray was a bit too dark there partway along. Perhaps you saw it. I had been putting black in too much. So I backed off putting in black. Now I'm just using water for a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This goes back up to the top. Am I going to do my own travels? No, I'm not going to. There's a whole bunch of foreigners in Japan doing that. I'm not going to join that crowd. Grab the camera, walk around. Let me show you Sensoji. I'm not going to do that. It's okay. There's so many people already doing that. How's our time? 8:59. I gotta get going. I thought maybe I was gonna finish this too early. It's the other way around. I'm talking too much. Nanda. Nanda. how will I unwind from today's stream? I got work to do today, lots of work to do. I took the day off yesterday. Actually, that's not true. I worked in the morning for the programming. Then just before lunch, I thought, let's go for a walk. And I didn't take any lunch with me. I stopped at the Skiroku Cafe. They make fantastic, to die for sandwiches. Skiroku Cafe, it's a couple of blocks away from here. Skiroku Diner. If you Google it, it's Suke 6, S-U-K-E 6. 6 is roku in Japanese. Suke 6 Diner. They make great, great food. So I went over there, grabbed a sandwich, and took it out to the river and started walking. I got home 5 hours later. 5 hours later. I collapsed in bed last night. 5 hours walking. Oh. It was a beautiful, beautiful spring day. So someone's got it. Suke 6 Diner. Sukeroku. It's pronounced Sukeroku. The website looks defunct. No, I was checking it just the other day. I don't know which one you've linked to, but there's not a defunct website. They're up and running. They do big takeout. They've got 3 or 4 restaurants around town. In fact, when I checked their website the other day, it had a sign outside saying they're hiring. Blossoms are done. Here in Tokyo, the blossoms are done. Up north, I have no idea. They're finished in Tokyo. Actually, they're finished in Tokyo, but I did take one picture when I was walking yesterday. Let me link it. Let me find the link. Hang on a sec. I sent it to Cameron. He may be posting it on Instagram. Got it. Here we are. That was yesterday morning, about 12:30. And I don't know what it is. It's if it's a cherry, it's a very late cherry, or it might be an old peach or something else. I don't know what the tree is. Well, the walk yesterday was partly just for fun, for walk, and partly research. You know, this idea that's still up in the air, you know, by myself, or with Taran-san, walking, a podcast thing. Taran wants to do a video podcast, you know, get the camera and walk along and show scenes like that while we are walking and talking. And I'm thinking, my God, the technical barrier is just so much, you know, I don't know. And then the noise outside, the traffic and the helicopters, and you get somewhere. So I don't know. It would be cool, but I don't think I can handle it technically, you know. Is it a cherry tree? You're talking about that photograph. I shot it blind. I've got it's a little pocket. It's the pocket point and shoot that we used to use in the print party room. I put it in my pocket when I went out for a walk yesterday. And you slide open the back, And because of the sunshine, the back is just, you can't see anything. So I'm blind. I'm just shooting completely blind. Something up there is a Skytree, so I don't know. And I couldn't even see what I got, because you do the playback and still the screen is just washed out, even when I try and hide it from the sun. So I had no idea what I had got until I got home, and it looks nice. Maybe Cameron will put it on Instagram, I don't know, whatever. The burgers are good. They are burgers, I tell you now. When I came here to Asakusa first, there wasn't anywhere you can get a burger. And now they're all over the place. I've got a little map downstairs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 places to get a burger. And Skidoku Diner is to die for. I don't know about that. If I'm speaking to Americans, John's going to come here next year and try it. He may say, we got 10 times better than this in Tennessee, which is maybe true. But here and on the ground in Tokyo, those Skidoku burgers are very, very, very nice. In fact, John, next time you're here, let's go over there. You can tell me how this compares with Tennessee stuff. No, John's thinking of never eating a burger. He wants to eat ramen, soba, stuff like this in Japan. That's fine. That's okay. But Japan also is a modern country with international food. And you don't want to come to Japan and eat McDonald's. Well, I get that. That's fair enough. And you know, or you don't want to maybe go to the Denny's. It might be fun just to go to the Denny's for once, just to see the cultural difference of how it works. But something like this, a burger at Skidoku, that's international food. Now these guys do it well. I believe they do it well. Now, Moss Burger is a different story. Nobody would pretend that's an actual burger. Moss Burger is a thing. It's a food that was created here, but there's no way you're going to compare it to an international hamburger. It's a different thing. They get a great advertising campaign. I don't know if they're still doing it. They've got a great advertising campaign. Itadakimasu becomes itadakimasu. Do they do that still? Moss Burger no 広告。いただきます。まだやってる？
やってるかもしれないね。
そうか。
いただきます。
そう。Just great campaign. Great campaign. More. The guy who invented that one was just great.
いただきます。
あります becomes ありますですね。この店の中に美味しいものあります。そう。すごい広告。そう。あの人は本当に頭がいい人でしょ。そう。
モスバーガーって浅草ありましたっけ？
ありますよ。伝布院通り、東武線の駅の裏。
あ、そうなんだ。
そう、もう小さなめちゃくちゃ汚いところです。
そうなんです。汚いところ。そんな昔からあるんですかね。ちっちゃい。
僕今行けないんですが、コロナの前に時々行ったんですね。
ああ、本当ですか。
遅くなると大変。この周りのレストランが、いつも7時とか8時とかですね。
混んでる？
時間ですね。Oh, Dr. Naturalist is here. I haven't heard your name in years. Thank you. Where are you now? North Carolina now. You've been peripatetic. It was Rochester, right? You came up from Rochester that day? I remember that too. So you're North Carolina now. Where was that? At the museum, Royal Ontario Museum. I can't remember the details. A million years ago. How are you guys doing? It was medical school, I think. Is that the... I don't know how much I can know or I can talk about. I thought it was medical school. Yeah. Middle of my anesthesiology residency. Dr. Naturalist. Nice name, nice handle name. So. Yeah, I always thought that was a bit, I can't say strange. What's the wrong word for this? Somebody who's in medical school is supporting my work and stuff, and I'm like, don't you already have enough debt or something like this? I don't know what I should say. How are we doing? It's 9:12. One more group. Tell you what. Okay, let's wrap it here. It's a tiny bit early, 3 minutes early, but the show and tell here is substantial. So let's do this. Let's wrap this up. I have 16 more sheets to do, and if I hadn't been blabbing so much, they would have been done by now. But a couple of things to show you, but it may need a little bit of time. So let's move the camera, get ready for show and tell time. Earthquake coming. Oops, I put the sweatshirt on the cable. Yoisho. It's going to be an unboxing today. Okay, the outside can go away for a few minutes. We'll put the outside up back again soon. Hi. Okay, this first one, there's two things to show today. This first one is Deja Vu. It's an album, mostly of blank pages. But up at the front of it, there's some stuff that isn't blank pages. Where have we seen these before? Look familiar? It's the same pochibukuro that we got on that previous auction, with a couple of differences. One, this time around, it didn't cost me $100. This time around, copy link. 。 This time around, it cost me $20. And two things. They are different colors. I brought with me here today, what did I do with them? I brought with me the previous batch that has now been safely released from its frame prison. And we can compare some things here. It's completely different colors. Same blocks, of course, exactly the same blocks. No, it's not the same blocks. Whoa, 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 red alert. We have something really interesting here. This is not the same blocks. This is a knockoff. Look at this. Anybody can see that. Look at the whiskers. Look at the feet. It's not the same blocks. Well, you can use different colors on the same piece of wood. That's no problem. You can print it blue one day and red the next day. That's easy. That's no problem. But these are not the same blocks. And this one has documentation from Pyeongpyeong-do, the company who made the things. Mystery, mystery, mystery. Let's grab a couple more here and have a look. Look at this. This is more of a... It's a very close reproduction. But no, it's not the same blocks. Little lines are different all over the place. All over the place. Ho, 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 ho. Look at this. This is different. Anybody can see how different this is. Look at this. Look at the carving. This is not just a different printer hacking away at the blocks. This is a completely different set of blocks based on the same design. I have no idea now. This is new to me. I knew they were going to be the same prints because I saw the picture on the auction list, but I didn't realize they were going to be different blocks. The mystery deepens. Interesting. Ho, 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 ho. But they are woodblock prints. They are done. We'll get them off here later on when it's safe to take them off carefully. Mine are clearly older. The previous ones are older. This is something newer. And the printing actually is more careless. The printing here, just the quality of the work. Well, neither of them are to die for, but the quality of the work is better on the older ones. The wet block is not a wet block, it's just a piece of wood. Nothing, nothing, nothing. So I don't know. Anyway, there they are. That's 4 of them. 4 more. I don't like the coloring so much on the new ones, but that could be actually just simply because it's newer. The older ones have a bit of a nicer, worn-out taste. Then we also have, in the album, these are the envelopes. This is newer. This is newer. What we have here is, this is the Eto, Juni Eto, from Pyeongpyeong-do. So it's a set of pochibukuro, and these also are the 12 animal zodiacs of animal zodiacs. And I can't read them. They're a bit of a stylized. There we are. There's the 12 as envelopes. And then in addition, there is some more. Now this is not, I think, woodblock. Yeah, it is woodblock. No, this is not woodblock prints. There's another set with the old, and what are these? These are the Sanskrit characters, I think. I don't know exactly. I'm sorry. And that's not a full set of 12. There's only 8 there. 4 of them are missing. And there's another set, and this is now modern stuff, which is printed, offset printed. And that's the end of it. So I don't care so much about that part of it or this part of it. but we have now a second set of zodiac animals, and we have really, really interestingly a reproduction. Yeah, interesting. It could be, and I'm just going to guess on the table here, it could be that what we have are pre-war stuff, and then post-war they just carved it again. They knew it had been a bestseller pre-war, so post-war, when their business came back to life again, they started to redo things again. They carved the same series. I'm guessing, that's simply my first stab at this. And the post-war work is not as good or as clear as the pre-war work. But that's simply the first guess at what may have happened here. These are small envelopes. What are they for? By this time, these prints like this are being made for collection. The envelopes were originally, they came from a functional use. They were sold in stationery stores. People would buy envelopes to use for, a classic example is giving your payment to your calligraphy teacher. It's the thing we usually say again and again and again. They were just used for passing out money. Not when you're in a restaurant or something, but when you're giving money for something important. But by this time now, that thing has morphed. It's morphed into a collectible item. And these were not made for passing out for money. Almost certainly, people would buy them as a collection. And you can see, this guy, whoever it was, has bought these things in this envelope, and he's mounted them, he's collected them in his own little collection album. And this is the common way that we see things these days. Is there a date? This is a photocopy. It's a photocopied sheet. And there's no date of production on this, talking about how they were common. Back in Taisho and Showa, these kind of things were commonly made. These are later. It's talking about the original idea, how back in Taisho up into early Showa, there was a collectible system of collecting pochibukuro. This is a photocopy. So this is clearly post-war. There's no date on it. This is modern paper. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Okay, let's put this away. This is not worth spending 15 minutes on. Let's put these away for a minute. Someone asked about the block, putting stuff on the block. This is nothing. This block that we were printing on a minute ago, we pull sheets of paper, we can put things on it. It doesn't matter. There's nothing that is going to transfer here. This is now just a piece of wood. So don't sweat that. We know how to handle our things here. Okay. Okay, now, let's do this. The other day, we were talking about these smaller prints, these pochibukuro, and I realized that there's stuff down in the collection that sort of never gets shown to you. Sometimes I get a set of prints like this, and you see the set of 12 prints. What do we do with them? We file them later on. And I realized that some of the files downstairs never get brought out to show and tell, because simply there's too much stuff and they're not practical. We have, for example, this. We have postal album A4 number 1. Downstairs there's postal albums A4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all kinds of them. So I thought what I would do for the last 5-10 minutes of this one today is I just grab one of these albums, and there's no specific, I want to show you this real cool set. I just want to browse for a moment together with you so you can get a feeling of what some of the things in our collection are like. How these will ever be displayed or put in the exhibition, I have no idea, but simply, oops, that's as far as the cable is going to come, okay. Let's spend a few minutes just browsing through one of these pages of this. Vivid KP, did you take the book, Karen? Did you go through it? Did you see what's going on inside? Dave, elementary school kids, yes, I'm in a school textbook this year, so. I've people on the street, actually I've been stopped on the street. You're in the book, you're in the textbook, you're in the textbook. And I'm like, yes, hello, hello, hello. The book has come up on stream before. Oh, so cool. Anyway, whatever, here we are. Let's have a look at some pages. I didn't think I'd brought this book. I brought one of the smaller books because we showed the yokai set to show. I was showing you that yokai series. That was in one of the smaller volumes. Junjozuri. starting with a key block. Postage stamp albums, eh? Going through the key block, color by color. I don't know how much you can see here because of the plastic. Put in the eyes plus the pink. The eyes plus the pink plus the yellow. Step by step by step. One day we'll manage to get these up on the net. One day. Who knows when. Adding green. There's a different block for every one, of course. But the blocks, remember, the block for the green is just a little tiny block that prints just the green. There's more green up here. So yes, there's a different block. So far we would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks, 5 pieces of wood. The orange gets added. I'm trying to see what's gone in the next block. I can't see what's different. I can't find something different. This one gets the purple. We're missing a couple. That's right. Soka, I remember this now. So this set is missing. We're missing some color, some color. By the time we get here, there's a few more have been added. The blue background has now been added. And away we go. All that work just for a little tiny print like this. This is Shomen Zuri, printing with color, with shininess on the top of this. Just a trivial little small item, but so much fun. I'm not quite sure in the future how we'll be using these, Will it be like a library? Will people be able to come in here and get these books up and browse them? I really don't know how we'll be doing this going forward. No idea. At the moment, all we can do is accumulate them, get them sorted out, try and learn as much as we can about them, get them scanned and put on the internet. These also are more Pochibukuro. This is going to be a set of 8. It's got the label. They became collectibles, yes, back in that era. This is pre-war, early Showa. It's pre-war. These again, these are more of the same things, the same envelopes that you see. Beautiful, beautiful little wood block print. Well, the prospect for the future Mokuhaka is rotating exhibitions downstairs. Yes, that's the idea. That's going to be when we open the shop again, whether it's this autumn or next spring or whenever it might happen. The shop will not be opening as a shop. It'll be opening as an exhibition space with a small shop attached to it at the back. But having said that, we have, like 10,000 items. So rotating once in a while. Remember, most of our visitors here are tourists. So it's no good saying we're rotating the exhibition, come back in 3 weeks to see the next one, because they won't be able to do that. So I don't know. It would make sense to have the rotating exhibition and then a study room or something where people who, we trusted could come in and then look through these books and enjoy them. So I don't know. Then I start to get feeling like a museum. No, don't come in and touch. You're going to steal stuff or you're going to spoil it or whatever. I don't know how to do this moving forward. Some of these, this is verging on the bizarre. You tell me what this is about. You tell me what this is about. I have no idea whatsoever. Is it a parody of some artwork that I don't know about? The era on this will be pre-war. This will be 1930s. Shaving a guy who's sitting in his underpants, and she's got no top. I mean, like, you tell me. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know what this is talking about. And is he about to start drinking, or has he got his head back up because of the shaving? I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea what that is. Some of them are classic. You know, this is a scene. This looks like somebody who's working at the Mokubakan around the corner from us here. There's a theater just around the corner here. John knows about this. John's been to that theater, you know. And this is the kind of face you would see in that theater. Woodblock print, you know, all delicately carved and printed. Some of these are New Year's. This is Takarabune with Ebison Daikoku, our friends here. This is New Year's celebration stuff. An actor series. These are prints now, you can tell by the triangular pattern here. These are prints related to the 47 Ronin story. And we have, and we've shown this on the stream, I think, the time I got them. We have here the full set of prints in a 24 set that show the famous 47 Ronin story. Episode 2 is the fight in the palace. Episode 3, he's about to kill himself. And the final episode right here, it's the 47 warriors. They are now in the temple where they will be committing their ritual suicide. Terrible, terrible, terrible story. Again, woodblock prints. These were made on a single sheet of paper and they were sliced up later on. I've seen a copy of the sheet. I didn't know this before. I thought they were in groups of 6 or perhaps 8. They're not. This was printed on a single sheet of paper. It was 25, it was 5 by 5 and printed on 25. This is the famous 47 Ronin story, here in Japan known as Chushingura. It's a terrible, terrible story. I don't understand why it's so honored. And then this one also, I think we may have shown this on the stream some time ago. This is the famous Hizakurige, the two jokers, Kita and Yaji, who stroll down the Tokaido. And again, it's a story in 55 woodblock prints. Joking on mochi. So it goes, page after page after page after page after page after page after page, whatever. This is one volume of a whole bunch. So again, I'm not sure how we're going to be using this in the future. I really don't know. You know, step one, scan them, get them online, which we've done. This particular page is already online. People can study them. But what other use we should make of these materials here in the future, I'm really not sure. Okay, let's put them away. I myself now, I'm going to get back to work, finishing these things. Other than that, I'll see you again on Thursday. I'll see you on Thursday. With my printing now finished on this, with my carving on print number 5 finished on this now, I'm not quite sure what I'll be doing next. I may be jumping ahead to start the carving on number 8, which is assigned to me, or I might be doing color separation work on the Cats series, which is also waiting for me. But doing color separation on the stream, what am I going to do? Just sit here and think while you guys chat? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. But I've got to do that job fairly soon. So I don't know. Anyway. Okay. That's it. I've had a very, very good week here, especially a good walk yesterday. I will see you again in 3 more days on Thursday. Before I shut her down here, I will put the outside camera back up for a minute. I'll leave it running for a couple of minutes. thanks for watching. Thanks for chatting. I'll see you again in a few days. Still pretty quiet out there. Early Monday morning. It was buzzing yesterday. My God, there were thousands of people here yesterday. Thousands of people here. Okay, shutting me down. Thanks so much for watching today. See you on Thursday. Bye for now.